Escaping a dynamic environment and entering an unknown static environment is interesting. All expectations are brought from the environment you've experienced, meaning they do not comply with this one. So once you're in it, you're kind of fucked. Now, the difference between you and I is I know this static environment. I know what to expect, how to climb. My problem is the dynamic environment. I can't predict it, as it's always changing. So every moving object poses a threat. Rationally, the higher I climb, the less chance of interaction. So the closer I get to the top, the safer. Till then, the paranoia doesn't stop. And it's hard to ignore it. But I gotta remember the goal. Safety. Once I'm on top, I think I see everything around me. I think everything's predictable. I start seeing opportunities and ways to execute them. The possibilities seem limitless, truly. But with them comes a different problem. I have to get back down. Many opportunities. Many. But choosing one. The danger. The uncertainty. The fear, the paranoia, only comes from a lack of preparation. Not every area is visible from the top, so I cannot prepare for what I don't know. Not all opportunities are executable. Sometimes I decide on the spot, pick the most predictable path, and use it. On the ground I'm confused, till I find what I saw from the top. There's always a way to the top. The start of the climb, it's always difficult. Until I get the pattern down, then it's pretty easy. I just repeat the same moves. Repetition is the same as a routine, and a routine is the base model of safety in society. So when people critique my activities, they critique the execution, the climb itself, based on probable negative consequence of it. But see, my climb, the way I execute it, is based on the same model of safety, repetition, routine, you trust and follow every day to stay alive. So when you critique my climbs or other activities with the argument that they're not safe, you're critiquing your own model of safety, which you follow and trust, meaning you contradict yourself as you state that repetition or routine is not the safest way of living, is the way of living you wouldn't do. So without suggesting a safer way or model for my climbs after the critique, you show that your intention is not to critique, but to defend your safety. Because you're insecure. And since we're not directly engaging in a mutually beneficial conversation, you critiquing without seeing actual negative consequence shows fear and uncertainty from your perspective, meaning you doubt that what you're doing is safe and compensate for it by trying to rationalize and find the argument for why what I'm doing is not safe. Once I'm on top, I think I see everything around me. Safe and predictable. But want to go back down again. It's like I'm searching for something, but I don't know where it was in the first place. Making sure I'm safe. In the process of wandering around aimlessly, trying to figure opportunities distract. And it's confusing because not all of them are executable. That makes me feel afraid. But there's always a way to the top. That makes me feel safe. I can look for more opportunities, which might be executable. I hope. Actually, it doesn't give me safety. The top gives me hope. And safety is only a consequence of it. Searching. Paranoid. Opportunities. I'm searching for opportunities. Sometimes they're right under my feet, but I make mistakes. Confused. Not acknowledging that at the top, what was below my feet is the inside. Inside. The thing that's limiting my field of view. Focusing it to the bottom. The opposite of what I seek. Opposite of the top. Opposite of opportunities. Not acknowledging that, I don't know when to stop. Making decisions on the spot. Always moving forward. Never looking back. Losing predictability. Entering the same dynamic environment I was trying to escape. And when I realize it, it's too late. Because I'm back at square one.
There is the reactor. It's very quiet, only mild wind. Since it's cold, it feels more unwelcoming, more like I'm not supposed to be here. It feels quite scary. You can only see silhouettes of buildings from the lights of the reactor. Everything is dead, no animal. Earth is very big and scary in moments like these. But that's what makes it interesting for me. The feeling of unsafety. Makes everything more simple. Makes me focus on bigger details. Alright. Gonna go back in.
Ignorance is primary. After recognizing an unknown environment, confusion is secondary. Lack of knowledge creates insecurity. Experience is knowledge. People are ignorant, confused, and scared of me. I am. Will you choose to stay confused? Or will you choose to experience fear or safety? Lack of knowledge is confusion. Confusion creates fear. Fear is static.
Portable computers have opened up music making to a new generation and revolutionized the creative process.
Safety is dynamic. The more you experience, the more knowledge you gather, the safer you feel. The more you stay confused, the less you get to experience. The less you get to experience, the more insecure you get. The more mistakes you make. But the transition from confusion to knowledge has to be careful. You have to know when to slow down. But after the transition, safety is experience.
Fixed my streaming equipment actually. So that day when I said that...
How old are you and where are you from? And how long did you do parkour?
Okay, first of all...
Here are what...
The age thing, I don't take age seriously. Like, it's not for me. It's basically to group people into the most beneficial workers, the less beneficial workers, and like the non-working class. You group people by age. But what I'm trying to say is, to an individual himself, age is very irrelevant. It actually brings negative aspects to their life. It's like, oh, I'm 20 right now. So if I like take age seriously, I'm like 20. Okay, so an average life of a human is like what, 80, 70? And I'm like, hey, I got like what, 50, 60 years left to die. Let me calculate that. But that is stupid as fuck. Because it's like, it's needless for me, for myself, to keep track of that information. So like I said earlier, for the employers, for the government, age is necessary to determine how able a person is to function in society. But for the individual itself, like, what's the point of knowing your own fucking age? What's the point of keeping track of time? What's the point? Like, I know if you want to function in society, and people do, and people have no choice but to do that. I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to make myself a choice. I don't want to keep track of time. I don't want to keep track of all those fucking needless numbers. For me, it's completely unnecessary. I want to just, there is no day, there is no night, there is no like February, October, or March. I literally do not know sequences of months and shit. For me, I'm trying to just, I know this might sound very fucking stupid to somebody. I don't give a shit, but I'm just being open right now. I'm trying to not bind myself by the arbitrary calculations of fucking cycles and sequences, which are fucking imaginary. Yeah, it's easier for me to think that a day doesn't end when the moon comes, and morning doesn't begin when the sun rises. It's a continuous flow. It's not chopped up into pieces. It's stupid. for me, I do understand that if you want to function in society, you have to keep track of all those things. And I do. When I schedule meetings with people, or when I like need to be part of society, I do keep track of all those things. But when I'm not part of that, I distance myself from it. That's why I gave myself a name. I don't even fucking think names are needed for me, for myself, for the individual. It's like, I get it, to be like comfortable for other people to like identify you and call you by something. But if I have a group of people that know me, they don't need to call me anything. Like, know me close. Fuck, it's so hard to express myself right now. But you can call it whatever. You can call it a rebellion, a fucking like anything. But I just want to not be bound by all this like shit that other people bring on me. I don't know. I do know. I just don't know how you'll react to that, but I don't give a shit. Let's go with me. The thing I was talking about, actually interesting to me. And I talked about it twice, and now I'm gonna discuss it the third time. So this is a police station. I do not like police. I think I'm not alone in this, but not just like, oh, fuck the police. I am not anti-police. I am anti-police arresting me. They can fuck with everybody else. I need that to feel safe, to actually keep doing this, which may sound contradictory, but an individual in society does not need police. Masses need laws. Individual does not need laws. This is the coolest place I have found. So this would be actually the holding cell where, you know, they would hold drunk people or violent people temporarily, or people who would need to be here and then later transferred to a more secure location. This is pretty cool. So as I was saying, the individual itself can be safe if everybody else is policed. The masses need police, but I personally do not need police if everybody else is policed. If one person doesn't follow the rules, there is no problem, because if everybody else does, they will do the opposite to that person, meaning that one person will have no effect on everybody else, you know? He will not be able to do anything to inflict mass harm. I got out the damn hole. I made a nice wrap up to my whole like rationalization for why it's okay for me to do this shit, but not all of you. Don't do it, all of you. Camera! It's so fucking annoying. Basically showed you the whole building, what you would expect from an abandoned building in a police territory. So to kind of finish off on what I was saying, everybody to everybody is everybody else. That is not the conclusion. That is the cause of these rules making everybody the same when they know that they're individual. There's this whole confusion going on. When do I function along with the masses, and when do I function by my own motivations? What are my own motivations in general? Society makes it very confusing to act upon things that you want, because when you live close to somebody else, it's so easy to be influenced by someone else's choices. And most of the time, someone else's choices is to get you out of their way so they can do what they want. But what they want is to get you out of their way and not stay in somebody else's way. So there's like really not a lot of leeway to totally do what you want. It's fucking confusing. That's why I like exploring cities, but I like going to these abandoned places. Not actually just walking around in the centers and stuff, just going to bars, because that is just confusing. For example, going to a bar. From like, let's say a city to a bar, which there's a lot of people in even closer proximity than a city, which is already close enough. But you do not interact with those people. So you're gonna go to a bar to act upon yourself. Yeah, sure, blah, blah, but like, you don't interact with everybody. What's the point of going there? The close proximity from the other people is not the actual, I cannot get anything. Feeling safer, I can do that on my own. I don't really need to be closer to somebody else who I'm not even interacting with. Feel safe. This perspective, of course, for me is subjective, because friends that I have approached me first. I didn't approach them. But my point still stands. Individuality and acting like mass in society creates a lot of confusion. So to completely finish off my rant, If everybody is everybody to everybody, individuality doesn't exist. If everybody is individual, then society doesn't exist. But no, both things are considered to exist. And it's because so much confusion everywhere. My bar example was based upon interaction being mandatory. If everybody recognizes everybody else as themselves, then they would interact with everybody if they wanted to get in close proximity with them specifically for a bar. It's a place where people are supposed to interact. But most of the time when I walk past them, everybody's not talking to everybody. They're talking in their own little groups with people they recognize as similar to them. Similar to their individuality. So it's very confusing. Even the whole sum up word is in everybody. It's false. Does that mean that society is not everyone? That society actually doesn't exist and is an illusion? That's where I'm sticking to. These laws are not based on trusting people. These laws are based on consequences, inflicting paranoia, fear. Because if I break this window, somebody will come and take me away. There is no everybody's society. There's just people who live in close proximity to each other because it's beneficial for them to get help through other people. But to make sure everybody helps everybody, they themselves realize they got to make everyone else afraid of everyone else. People in the government, they're not different. There's no need for everyone to be in the fucking government. One can observe and make a solve to a problem. For example, a problem would be people breaking windows. Either like take windows away or make sure the person that breaks the windows is afraid to break the windows. But to make the fear not be unfair, the fear is predictable because the laws are available to everybody. So they can read up on what they can and can't do. That seems fair, right? But the unfair part is that everybody does not make those laws. And again, going back to my original point, if everybody else follows the laws except for me, that is good for me because I don't have to follow them. If everybody else thinks the same, therefore fear is inflicted. What I do is just try to break out of that fear in ways that will not give me severe consequences. Okay, I'm done talking. I'm not far now.